Story 1: The Long Way Home. The night was supposed to be a fresh start in my new city. An invitation to a house party, though overwhelming, was my chance to blend into the vibrant college atmosphere. The evening swirled around me with an intensity I wasn't prepared for. Loud music and unfamiliar faces created a whirlwind I couldn't quite navigate. I lingered for hours, masked politeness hiding my discomfort, until the clock struck an inhospitable hour. Sneaking away seemed the best course to escape without further entanglement. And with a heavy sigh, I ordered an Uber, craving the solace of my dorm room. Outside, a chilled breeze nipped at my skin, but it brought a sense of renewal as I left the party behind. The vehicle that purred to a halt beside me matched the app's description. Same make, same model, exact license plate. These facts should have grounded me with reassurance, yet the driver's greeting drifted out flat and hard to decipher. Waving it off, I climbed into the back seat, mentally discarding it as a mere electronic blip. My fingers curled around my phone, launching into a rapid text session with a friend about the unbearable night as we pulled away. Texting proved a perfect distraction, a tether to a friend that grounded me in the familiar as street lamps dimmed and shadows loomed larger outside the window. It wasn't until the map on my phone showed no movement, no progress, that unease slithered into my consciousness. The ride hadn't been marked as started in the app. I noticed almost absently at first, but then dismissed it too hastily, trying to focus instead on our path, squiggling unnervingly through the darkness. I leaned forward, a hint of politeness masking my newfound edge of concern when I asked about our route. The driver, eyes flicking up to meet mine in the rearview mirror, uttered the pronouncement, "This way's faster," without warmth or evidence. Shadows enwrapped the car in their hollow embrace, and I wished I could remember the path to any semblance of safety. My thumb tapped out an SOS of location sharing to my friend, an ache growing in the pit of my stomach. Silence stretched out tangible, tinged with dread. His eyes were inscrutable pools of reflected streetlights when I dared to glance forward. It was then that, glittering in the dim space beneath the seat, I detected something so out of place it chilled me. A woman's purse caught in the flood of a passing light. The sight jerked an instinctive and graciously deliberate nonchalance from my lips. "Hey, someone might have left their purse in here." His response was a brush against the abyss, flat and hollow. She obviously didn't need it. My skin prickled with the recognition of danger. Tension coiled tight in my limbs, every instinct screaming for action. The car slowed obediently for a red light, opportunity pressing upon me with urgency. My escape was a blur of adrenaline. The door flung open. My heart galloped wildly as I sprinted toward the beacon of the gas station, awash in fluorescent reassurance. I breached the doorway, throwing myself into the world of bright lights and human contact, breath coming ragged. I didn't look back immediately, terrified of the scene I might see. Inside the gas station, I found refuge with the clerks and patrons who surrounded me. Their alarm became my shield as the preoccupied driver sped off into the darkness, leaving behind unanswered questions and a mystery half-formed. The clerk assisted me in calling the police, stable voices fortifying the night's taunt of danger with sudden, renewed determination. I clutched my phone like a lifeline, waiting for law enforcement to arrive. The night drew to a chilling close under the flash of police lights, officers confirming what I had feared. The car was reported stolen that very night, an opportunity masquerading as safety with implications stretching far deeper and darker than my immediate terror. The real driver was never there, and the figure who filled his place remained unnamed and elusive. The purse retracted into questions left hanging suspended as the night drew its conclusions in the breathless uncertainty of my new life. I vowed in that vivid silence to cling to the safety of numbers, never to wander alone into another Uber cab of my own volition. The harrowing shadows of that night followed silently through the months at college, always reminding me of their reach, lurking just beneath the mists of familiarity. Story 2: Sleep Recordings. I used to toss and turn every single night. The quiet of my suburban house felt more like an empty void since my wife passed away. She fought bravely against cancer, but 9 months ago, the battle was lost, leaving me to navigate the silence alone. I tried to take comfort in our memories, but when the house grows absolutely still, my peace shattered and I'm left only with my thoughts. It didn't help that my nights were plagued by the feeling of being watched, which was absurd, I tried to tell myself, since it was just me. But the dreams, those vivid, unsettling dreams, made it hard for me to rest easy. My doctor suggested a sleep tracking app as a way to improve my sleep hygiene. It seemed simple enough. I just had to press a button and let it work while I slept. I had hoped it could help provide insights into why I felt so drained each morning, and maybe help shape a routine that promised deeper sleep. At first, I barely explored the app. I glanced at the sleep cycle graphs faithfully each morning, with segments labeled deep, light, and REM sleep. But nothing truly stood out. Yet I still couldn't shake the feeling of something being off, of waking each morning, still shrouded in exhaustion, or worse, fear. The dreams of being watched became increasingly vivid. One morning, as I woke with a lingering sense of dread, a strange dream clinging to the edges of my memory, I decided to invest more time exploring the app's features. Hidden within the interface, there was a tab labeled Audio Events. It piqued my curiosity. What could possibly be captured in the nighttime silence of my room? I tapped it, revealing a list of timestamps. Most seemed innocuous until my eyes landed on one curious entry at 2:47 a.m. Compelled, I pressed play. The recording played, crackling softly before relaying an unnerving whisper. "He's awake." I froze. The voice was low, unfamiliarly soft, almost brushing against the mic like it was meant for my ears only. Its sinister familiarity made my hair stand on end. This couldn't be real, I reassured myself as I scanned the house, checking every window and door. Each lock was secure, untouched, the house a fortress just as I'd left it the night before. Yet knowing everything was ostensibly secure offered little solace. Determined to catch the culprit if there was one, or perhaps merely to reassure myself that technology sometimes hiccups, I repositioned the phone closer to my bed the next night. The morning came, and as I inspected the app's details, a peculiar detail caught my attention. The recording had stopped manually at 2:46 a.m. I had never touched it in the night. Doubts clawed at my mind, transforming suspicion into fear. To assuage my growing paranoia, I went a step further, investing in an intricate home security system. Motion detectors, cameras, all strategically placed, with a hope that technology could fend off the insidious feeling gnawing at my nerves. I clung to the hope, albeit fragile, that these measures could finally offer a sense of security and peace. The first night with the security system didn't go as planned. At just shy of 3 a.m., the alarm erupted, shrill and unyielding. Heart racing, I nearly stumbled from my bed, adrenaline propelling me to the monitor. There, at the back entrance, stood two indistinct figures illuminated by the night vision. They were in the process of trying to unlock the door with what looked like a key. Panic surged, overpowering rational thought. And I called the police. My voice was barely steady, disbelief tangled with rising panic. They responded swiftly, scouring the premises diligently, though they found no indication of a break-in. Afterwards, an officer calmly asked if anyone else had access to a key. The question lingered, oppressive, until a forgotten memory surfaced. My wife had misplaced her keys once. It was a fleeting incident, one swiftly overshadowed by the urgency of her illness. In those final weeks, the locks had been an insignificant detail, ignored amidst more pressing matters. The thought that those keys, those seemingly benign tokens of everyday life, might now be linked to such sinister intent terrified me. I wasted no time. The locksmith rekeyed every door by the day's end, and I felt a semblance of peace return. Story 3: The Nightmare. Our daughter had always been a sound sleeper, one who rarely, if ever, woke us in the middle of the night. So, when she padded into our bedroom at 3:45 a.m. on a chilly October night, whispering that someone was breathing under her bed, I assumed it was just a nightmare. Her small face was pale, eyes wide in the glow from the hallway, nightlight spilling into our room. Her conviction that it wasn't just a dream tugged at my heart, but fatigue won over as I told her it was nothing and walked her back to her room. I flicked on the light and peered under her bed, half expecting to see the pile of toys we always told her to clean up. But there was nothing. The cool wooden floor was bare, save for a single forgotten sock. Still, I reassured her, casting shadows of assurance to chase away her demons. My wife, sensing our daughter's unease, decided to lay down with her until she fell asleep. By morning, her fear seemed like a mere smudge on the clean slate of a new day, forgotten as the sun sliced through her curtains. Yet the very next night, there she was again, standing at our bedside precisely at 3:45 a.m. Her whisper was a ghostly echo of the previous night's fears. The breathing was back. This time, a knot formed in my stomach as I trudged back to her room, the rhythmic ticking of the hallway clock amplifying the eerie hour. The air felt different, heavier somehow. Kneeling down again, I noticed a faint, unfamiliar scent. Earthy and damp, like wilted leaves mixed with sweat. My hand involuntarily rubbed against the floor as if trying to erase the scent. My wife and I exchanged wary glances when I saw the window. It was shut but just slightly askew. I had surely latched it before. A microscopic gap, but there all the same. A chill ran up my spine that had nothing to do with the night air. We decided to let her sleep with us for the rest of the night, trying to shake the unease clinging to us like an unwanted shadow. In an attempt to calm ourselves, we rigged up the old baby monitor in her room before retiring back to bed, aware of our breaths and their vigilante rhythm. It was 4:43 a.m. when the sounds crackled through the baby monitor. Low, methodical, almost calculated breathing, slow inhales and exhales trapped in static. My wife and I sat upright, terror wrenching us from sleep as if it physically yanked us. Heart pounding, I bolted to her room. When I switched on the light, It felt as though time stopped for just a second too long. The room was empty, no breathing but the window, slightly more open than before. The emptiness felt laden with silent accusations. Our daughter was still slumbering peacefully in our room. There was an unwelcome emptiness that felt like a person just ghosted from view. My heart thundered, as if in quiet mockery of the deserted room. My wife and I knew we couldn't let this linger even a moment longer. Sitting rigidly on the edge of her bed, I reached for the phone, hands shaking slightly, and dialed for the police. When they arrived, disbelief clouded their expressions, but professionalism prompted their inspection. They discovered scratch marks on the window's latch, like tiny, dreadful tattoos. Outside, it appeared someone had utilized a nearby plant rack as a makeshift ladder to reach the window. This was no child's imagination, no wisp of nightmare fading with the dawn. But even with this disturbing revelation, there wasn't enough, a specter of action without a visible perpetrator. We were left with more questions than answers. That same day, feeling out of sync with reality, we replaced every window and door lock with reinforced security locks. Time passes with a surreal quality when fear finds refuge in your home. After that, the eerie interruptions ceased like a late-night storm finally passing. Yet, our daughter refused to return to her room, naturally gravitating to the safer confines of our bed. Her old room became a sanctuary of daylight use only, an encyclopedia of childhood memories with a single open page, a reminder of what might have lingered beneath, waiting. The ghost of that fear hung around, silent but present, buried under layers of forced normalcy.